Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of GG Gaming Gone Mad. I'm Brent Graham, and you're watching Good for the Game TV. Before you do anything else, if you enjoy your punting and you enjoy your rugby in particular, go down to the bottom of this video and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll be notified of all of our videos going forward. Well, on tonight's show, we're going to be having a look at some of these sporting events taking place this weekend from a betting angle, of course. And who better to do it than Gary Lentin down there in Cape Town, I would imagine. Gary, how are you, sir?
Brent, I'm very well. How are you doing, my mate?
No, doing well, thanks, Gary. Haven't spoken to you for a while. You've been tied up with poker, and then the last week when we were going to chat, I had load shedding. So it's good to talk to you again after a few weeks. You've been busy.
Yeah, I have been very busy. It's always great to catch up with you, Brent, and all the guys there. Good to hear your voice. I'm surrounded now, 200 yards to my right there. I've got the stadium with some clown singing, right? All I know is that everybody that's gone to watch that has taken all the parking downstairs at my apartment. And then to my left, I've got this foghorn going. I mean, it's an absolute nightmare. I've got some, I don't know if he's Irish or English singer, and a foghorn. I mean, what chance have I got? So it's nice to actually break away. And, you know what I mean? I did watch a bit of the cricket there, and now I'm watching some golf. So we really, I mean, I think that this is the best time for sport from now, and also for horse racing going into the Durban season. We've got one race in Joburg on Saturday. But going into the European summer, don't you think the sport actually gets better, Brent?
I do, Gary. I mean, for me, this is also one of the favorite times of the year. I tend to, from a punting point of view, I won't say I've obeyed my rules really that well, but I like to tread carefully early on in Super Rugby because it normally takes me a few weeks to work Super Rugby out. And we're starting to get to the point now where I find things, I don't want to say predictable, but perhaps from a points line point of view, I find some activity. I mean, some of the games are still really, really tough to call. But I enjoy the European Cup rugby that comes up, the English Premier League reaches the business season. And Gary, of course, this year we've got a couple of World Cups to look forward to. So I'm even starting to keep an eye on the cricket now.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, you get a preview on the EPL, right? You see all the superstars. Not all of them are going to the World Cup, obviously. I mean, AB's obviously too busy to go to the World Cup, but he managed to find time to go to India to play in the EPL. But that's his business.
Yes.
You know, all I can say is that whatever squeak we had at the World Cup, in my opinion, in the cricket, is really gone without AB. Let's be perfectly honest. You know what I'm saying? And I'll even go further. I'll say any squeak we had at the World Cup rugby would have been better off with AB than the side we're going to send it. But that's another story. But I just think the cricket, I mean, I just don't think we have the quality to beat the sides like India, England, and Australia. What do you think, Brent?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. It's difficult to see us doing it. Yeah, I haven't been following the cricket that closely myself, but I spend a lot of time on social media. And some of the guys, like a couple of the guys from our website, like Couch Critic, but he's on there with a lot of other guys. The guys are watching a lot of IPL, they're watching a lot of international cricket, and they're really getting into in-depth as to what sort of squad we take. But I've got to admit, Gary, I don't really think any squad we take is actually going to be good enough to win the World Cup over there.
I don't think so. I just don't see where the quality is going to come from. You know, I just don't see. Yes, of course, there are guys like Markram and the Cock, and there are some good cricketers. But, I mean, if you just look at the standard of cricket that the Indians are putting together with guys that you've never heard of. I mean, they're really, really brilliant. You know what I'm saying? I think India could put in two, maybe even three sides into a limited overs cricket tournament and be competitive with all three. I think that England are good enough to put together a really good squad at home, and I think they'll be very competitive. And I think that the one you mustn't just downright, I mean, obviously Pakistan and South Africa got small chance, but to me, Australia, you know what I mean? There are two guys there, super talented batsmen. Let's be honest. Warner, whatever they do, whether they're crooks or not, that's their business, you know.
Yes.
On the playing field, right? They're super, super talented cricketers, but real great batters, Warner and Smith. They really are, you know, and I think they've got a lot to prove to the world. I think this is their stage to come and say, hold on, what we did was wrong. We admitted that we're wrong, but at the end of the day, we are cricketers, and here we are to ply our talents in front of the whole world. And I think that they can take this Australian cricket side, give it a lot of depth in the batting. And, I mean, if you look at their bowling side, if everybody's fit, well, they got some really talented bowlers there. Australia will be competitive in England. There's no doubt, Brent.
Yeah, well, Henrik Swart agreeing you there on the live chat. He says Australia's form has been impressive. And just to welcome the guys on the live chat, thanks, guys, for coming back. I know it's always a bit disruptive after a week off. And one of the early comments, I did ask the guys, I went on earlier and sort of said to them, what do you want to chat about? And one of the early comments, they say, you guys opened up, GG Gaming opened up plus 35.5 Sunwolves against the New South Wales Waratahs. I think the handicap currently about 16. It's an interesting one, that, Gary, because I capped that in the mid-20s. And a good mate of mine, good punting mate, capped that at minus 35.5, exactly like you guys did. So
I don't think we were 1.5.
Sorry?
I don't think we were ever 35.5. No, definitely not.
Not as high as that, eh?
I'm just going to go back and resend it out first, right? It was never that high.
Not that high. I didn't look. I was away. Peter Paul can comment. Maybe it could possibly been 25.5. But irrespective of that, it's been an interesting game from a handicapping point of view, because I thought that the Waratahs would be 20-odd point favourites, and I think they came in all the way to 12, and they're now at 16. Emil saying he saw 20.5 at one point. Peter Paul said on Sunday he does think he saw that one. So anyway, whether or not, but what I found interesting was that if one of your handicappers did see it that way, they weren't alone, because a couple of our punters also thought the cap would be up there. But it's actually quite a lot lower, hey?
The number was 20.5 when we came out.
Okay.
I think, to be perfectly honest with you, I still think we're far too low.
Yes.
I was saying in the evening before I went out, I was speaking to Dave. Dave, our head trader, and one of our more esteemed punters was sitting in the office as well. And he was asking me what I thought. And I said, I just think that these poor Sunwolves don't even know where they are. Never mind that they're not going to be in Super Rugby next year, which I think is probably a wise decision. I think that the fact is that they just travel all around the world playing in these, you know what I mean? They're not obscure places, but they're obscure as far as rugby is concerned. You know what I'm saying,
yes.
Brent? I just think it's so difficult for them. It's like saying to the Lions, this week you're going to play in Pofadder. Next week you're in Mabatu. After that, we'll go give you a little game in Lusaka, something in Nairobi, and see how everything goes. Yes. You know what I'm saying? It's really unfair. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else travels around like them, and they haven't really been given a chance, and I think that will count against them this week. And I mean, you're talking about a Waratah side, they've got to have a little bit of confidence, eh, Brent?
They do. I mean, they played very well last week to beat the Crusaders. Peter Paul just saying that he believes he made an error there, and I think I know, Peter Paul, where you saw it, because Coyle on the Good for the Game forum actually opened the thread, and his opening call on the handicap was 35.5, which was a little bit too high. So that's probably where the 35.5 got entrenched. But yeah, Gary, I think the Waratahs, if they can turn it on, they can certainly. I mean, the last time they played the Sunwolves at home, they beat them by 52 points. Okay, that was a couple of years back. But it is the sort of game, the Sunwolves, like you say, back and forth, Singapore, Tokyo, then they're in New Zealand, now they're back in Australia. It might be starting to take its toll, and I could well see the Waratahs running away with it.
Definitely. Does he pay himself?
Sorry?
Does he pay himself?
Who's that?
Peter. Does Peter pay Paul sometimes?
Sorry, that one went over my head, Gary.
When we do the spreads, right? So then I like to say, just before we send them out, and this was my argument with my traders, I said at 18.5, 20.5, nobody's going to back the Sunwolves. That's the truth, not after what happened last week. So you're sending out a spread, saying to everybody else, you back the Waratahs, and you're going to leave me, in other words, with the Sunwolves, right?
Yes.
Now, do I really want 7-10 the Sunwolves plus 18.5? I don't. It's not a spread that I'm really comfortable with, Brent. I'll be honest with you. Maybe they will fluke in something else like they did against the Chiefs or whatever. I just think, they've been thrown out of Super Rugby. It's not as though it's like the Cheetahs being thrown out or the Kings that had an identity. You know what I'm saying? These Sunwolves, most of them aren't even Japanese to start off with, right? So how much of an identity have they got? How much does it really mean to them? Most of these guys are going to go get contracts somewhere else, whether in Super Rugby or somewhere in Europe. They're going to just move on, and this will just be another payday experience that they've had in their lives that's come and gone, and hopefully they've enjoyed it. But I don't really see them buckling down and, fighting. I think that the Waratahs are probably worth a few pounds, Brent.
Yeah, I think the Waratahs are probably a good thing on the handicap there, and I think most of the guys in the chat seem to go. Peter Paul says he's actually looking for a job at the moment, and then he'll be able to pay himself. At the moment, he's following the Good for the Game tips, so I don't know how well that's going for him.
I've got a mate, I've got a very good mate. I won't mention name because it's embarrassing. And he always used to say, he used to borrow from Peter to pay Paul.
Yes.
But now it's Peter's. So that's, that is one of the problems when you're borrowing money all the time, right?
Exactly.
But the thing is that, I think the Waratahs one of our better. I just want to say to the guys from Good for the Game, this is a huge credit to you as well, Brent, is that all it takes is to miss one show, right? And I promise you now, the turnover that we had from the Good from the Game guys dropped by over 60%, Brent?
Right.
So this show definitely has a reach out, you know what I mean? And it gets the guys, whether it's a specials or just seeing my perfectly sculptured features, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? It does get the guys punting and everything. So Yeah, let's hope that we see a nice big comeback from the guys on Good for the Game. And obviously, we're going to offer a few specials.
That's it. And also, being a bit of a long weekend, I think also played a little bit of a role there as well, because we also saw a little bit of a tail off together with the load shedding. So, Gary, maybe I was just looking at your site now. See the game that's really handicapped the closest, and that's maybe the one we'll run the 500 Rand competition for the guys in the live chat, is the Reds against the Rebels. I see you betting 9 to 10 the pair there.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, it seems, obviously, if it's 9 to 10 the pair, it seems it's going to be divided opinion, and obviously it is. But I'm pretty much in the Reds camp here, Brent. I must be honest with you. You know, I think that the Reds should be -5.5, round about that level. I really, really believe that.
Well, I think I also came out somewhere around that. Now, I've been away the last couple of Sundays, so I've only done my handicap show quite late. But maybe this week, Sunday, I'll hook up with your traders, and perhaps we can even do the show live on air, come out live, or we'll come out and you come out simultaneous and see where the guys, see what the guys do.
That's a good idea. Why don't we do that on Sunday? I'll actually be in the office. No, I won't. Dave and Justin will be in the office on Sunday. When we come out, let's say noon or 1 o'clock, whenever you're ready, if you're available, and let us, again, put it online. Let's do the show on live on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. The guys watching can do it. And what we'll do is, as we come out with our lines, we'll leave them there. We won't change them. We'll give everybody that's watching the show, Good for the Game guy, we'll give them 20 minutes to get on.
That's a great idea.
10,000 Rand a line, depending what it is. We can discuss that closer to the time. And, you know what I mean, have a dip at it.
Yeah, I think the boys are going to be excited about that one, Gary. Guys, let me just... Yeah. Sorry, Gary, carry on.
I've got another idea. Why don't the guys that watch the show form a group? Right? Let them form a group. You know what I mean? The 10 smartest or the 15 smartest, whatever it is. And you know what I mean? Let them as a group choose an account where they're going to get on and get on as a combined thing. You know what I mean? Take 10 grand of every single line for argument's sake, okay, Brent, and see how they go as a group. You give them 20 minutes to discuss it, and then they can call through and have their bets, something like that.
It's a good idea. Well, we'll work around that. We've also been looking at setting up a WhatsApp group as well. So there's some things to work on. But let's do it on this Sunday. I'll be in touch with you later on in the week, and I think the guys will like it. Hein Demond saying it sounds great. Ruan Faris sounds great. The boys will definitely be keen on that one. And instead of spending family time with a wife on Sunday, they're going to be watching the handicap show and having a punt.
Look, if you ask me what I would rather do, right? Have a punt, watch sport, or spend time with my wife, right? Not even coming to the reckoning. You know, if it was some of my mates' wives, I might think about that. You know, maybe once every 3 or 4 months, just for a change of scenery. You know,
no contest.
I'm just seeing what Woods is doing here. He just shot off his knees with the back of his club. I think if he tries that at Augusta in a couple of weeks' time, he might be an MC. But so that's all good. I mean, yeah, that's great. I look forward to the Sunday. I've got things to do. I promise you, I'm going to tune in to watch that show. That would be really cool.
Excellent. Well,
is that a peach or a cricket ball, Brent?
No, it's like kind of like one of these squeeze balls for high tension, you know.
Okay.
When you're losing as much as I am lately, you do a lot of squeezing.
Fair enough.
Let's ask the guys to predict the Reds v Rebels game. Who's the winner and by how many points? And the closest one will get the 500 Rand voucher for the live boys. I must say, Gary, I'm with you there. I like the Reds. I was on them last week at 15 to 10. And funny enough, on the Blues, they were my only 2 really results I caught last week. And unfortunately, as it happens, my smallest bets. But I like the Reds as well. I mean, I've seen as big as 13 to 10 the Reds, which suggests to me that you probably top price the Rebels.
Yeah, we are. I mean, like I said, I don't like the Rebels. I'm not going to make any, you know what I mean, excuses or anything. I just think that they've had, you know what I mean, they've had a tough couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? If you think where they were after an hour against the Lions and what they home with, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they can't be that, you know, terribly satisfied with what they left our shores with. And, you know, I think that the Reds full of confidence. I don't care that everybody says to me the Brumbies were garbage. Of course you got players what did your opponents let you, right? And I mean, at the end of the day, it was a fair reflection what happened last week. And I think the Reds, there's not a hell of a lot to choose between Australian sides. They all dish up a pretty, except for the Waratahs. I think the Waratahs are just a class above the rest. But I think the rest of them all dish up pretty much the same type of garbage every single week. And it's a team with home ground advantage or a little bit of confidence that's going to make the difference. You know what I'm saying, Brent? I think in personnel and coaching, they're all...
Yeah, there's not a massive difference. I mean, I was actually looking at the Reds and going, I think they've got an outside chance at that Australian conference because I really do think it is pretty weak. I saw some 10 to 1 available about them early in the week, and I think the Reds have been underestimated a bit by the bookmakers. They've had a pretty tough start. I mean, they were away at the Highlanders, pushed them close. They lost by 10 to the Crusaders at home, and now they're starting to get some results. And I hear you on the Waratahs, but at the same time, those Waratahs, on their day, they're the best Australian side by a mile. But they also have those days where they just can't put it together, and you never seem to know what you're getting. And for me, that Australian conference is wide open.
The Waratahs will ride the wave of last week for another 3 or 4 weeks, in my opinion, Brent. I just think that's not a normal good game for them. I think that's just such a huge result for them, and I think they'll draw on that for the next at least 3 or 4 weeks.
Right, yeah, I agree with you. Henrik just saying he's going to have to try and get past the wife on Sunday to join us for the show.
But what you do, step inside, fade the dummy to the right, and then just cut out. Okay,
That's it.
All the time, It's like that old terrible story, and it's just a story, it's a joke, it's not real, about the guy that goes to court. I'm not going to say where, in one of the little districts out there, where the men are tough and the women are in the kitchen. And the guy says to him, "Pete, why do you beat your wife every week?" He says, "I think it's my superior footwork and my big left hook." So there's always a way to get around things,
There's always a way to get around. Or, Henrik, we don't recommend that route.
I'm not suggesting that anybody ever hits a woman or ever hits anybody else. I'm totally against violence. Just a bad story from the old days,
Yeah, no, some of those jokes will still give you a good chuckle, and the boys are having a bit of a laugh there in the live chat. Gary, I don't want to get into the games in detail, but there's European rugby, the Champions Cup quarterfinals this week. Do you find a lot of the punters start switching over to the European game as well, or are you really super rugby focused?
A lot. We got caught a lot on the European rugby matches. What was happening early on in the season, right? The team selection is so important, and we were coming out before everybody else.
Yes.
And Bet365, you know what I mean? They suspend. You don't know when they're going to suspend. A team comes out and they're resting 12 out of their 15 starters from the week before, and all of a sudden you laying minus 15, a team that ends up minus 3. You know what I'm saying, Brent? And, well, the other way around. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just not, I don't find that the people are that keen on it. I don't find, a few people are sure. But I just think that Super Rugby rules South African rugby. I think it rules all our punting, Brent. That's the truth. You know what I'm saying? I think that, you know what I mean? For Super Rugby really is, it's so popular with the punters.
Well, that's it. And we had a bit of a thing in our forum. One of the guys came on and said that, the Sun rules are no longer going to be a part, and it's dropping to 14 teams. And I made the point that from a quality point of view, it's probably not a bad thing. The less teams are better. But Henrik actually came on and he said, "I'd like a 30-team tournament because it just means more games to punt." And at the end of the day, that's what keeps the boys going, is the fact that you can bet on all these games.
No, sure. But, I mean, like I said, I don't really want to be too critical of the Sun rules. But I think that for the longevity of the tournament, I think my biggest concern is, where does it go from here?
Yeah.
No doubt about it. It's a very sad truth. But, I mean, there's no doubt about it that come November, the outflow of Springbok rugby players is going to be tremendous. You know what I'm saying? They're going to go overseas. We can't compete with our currency. And not only that, for the first time ever, you can see that I think we might have discussed it before, All Blacks saying that they got to go and play for 2 or 3 years in Japan. You know what I'm saying? And
yes.
All Blacks are missing from the New Zealand conference and the Springbok from the South African. I mean, do we really want to watch a Curry Cup teams playing the New Zealand provincial sides? The answer to that is no. And the administrators, I mean, and I know just thousands of them watch the show every single week. They pull out of their boardrooms around the world to watch you and me. But the truth is, administrators do need to find a way to keep the players in these countries, in the Southern Hemisphere, Brent. Otherwise, they're going to be lost forever. And, I mean, that would be sad.
It is a worry. It is a big worry as to which way the games are going there. Just to let you know that it seems to be quite an even split, as we predicted with the live chat guys, as far as the Rebels and the Reds go. Gary, before we get on to your best bet of the week and the Beat the Cert competition on Twitter, looking at the English Premier League, though, we got Liverpool currently leading by 2 points from Manchester City. City, of course, they have that game in hand. I mean, we really are on the home stretch now. Do you think there's any chance Liverpool can pull this off, or is it City's title to lose?
I think that it's going to be tough for Liverpool. I think this is their week. You know what I mean? I know that they're at home, but they are 11 to 20, 6 to 10. We've got a price boost on Liverpool because I think that they
right.
A few years ago, they choked at Palace after being a couple of goals up, which would have won them the title. I think they ended up losing it to City, if memory serves me correctly. I think that if their opportunity to choke is this weekend, if they get through this weekend unscathed with 3 points against Spurs, I think that they're real runners. But I just got a feeling that something is going to go wrong for them this weekend. And it's not because I'm a City fan or I don't like Liverpool. I do like Liverpool. And I just think that, there's been so much pressure. And I don't think the break it came at the right time for them. I think it's given them too much time to think about where they are. They would have been better off just getting stuck into every game. You know what I'm saying, Brent?
Yes.
In the scrum, carrying on. You know what I mean? They've had time to think about it. And, we got Champions League, we got this, we got that. I mean, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So this is their week. I think they'll get beaten, but I think if I'm wrong, then I think that they're going and they've got a really big chance.
So you're going to boost the Liverpool price. The guys can look out for that.
We boosted the price from 11 to 20. I think we've gone 15 to 20. It's the best price in the world. 15 to 20 really is a big price. And I mean, I think, look, we have changed our price boost. We don't just, what was happening with our price boost is it was attracting the wrong people, right? People come in and not having any other bets, Brent, and they were lumping on as much as they could get, 30, 40,000 on it, and we'd never hear from them again. And that's not what they're about. It's not what the show's about. It's about giving the guy, the punter that has fun, a chance. You know what I'm saying? So we've limited guys to what they can put on there, but we have price boosts all the time. Just another price boost that we got every single Sunday. You need to tune into GGGaming.bet because we have a price boost on the golf, and it's generally the guy that's leading, Brent.
Oh, really? Okay, on the PGA.
Obviously, so we're going to do it in both senses. We're not going to do it this week for the Indian Open, but there'll definitely be a price boost for the 4 guys going through in the golf.
Okay, excellent. Gary, I just want to take him through the Beat the Cert competition before we lock off here. You like the Bulls to bounce back from their terrible performance against the Chiefs and gone Bulls plus 4.5 at 9 to 10. So, guys, you've got to enter this competition on Twitter, and if Gary's cert misses, so in other words, the Bulls don't beat the plus 4.5 handicap, then you win a R1,000 free bet. And to enter, you tweet at Brent Graham, GGGaming gone mad, and I want to know who's going to win the game and what are the total points going to be in this game. So that's the Bulls game against the Sharks. I will stick a screenshot of this up yet, so you don't have to panic, you don't have to enter quickly, and you can have a look at that one. It should be a good game, and I must admit, Gary, I'm expecting a close one. I haven't really picked a winner yet, but I'm thinking either side by sort of 6 or 7 points.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a lot to choose between the two. I can't believe the Bulls are as bad as they were last week. I can't believe that. I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a really, really good game. It's going to be a great game. The one thing for sure, we do enjoy the derbies, Brent. We don't enjoy what they wear. They run around like a bunch of clowns from a circus, right? But if they could just go back to wearing normal rugby jerseys, then the derbies are still a great highlight for me, you know?
Excellent. Just interesting, the boys in the live chat have got a bit distracted from our chat here, and they've been talking a lot about the IPL, Gary. You finding quite a bit of turnover coming through on that?
Always. I mean, IPL probably one of the biggest punted events in the world, throughout the world, Brent. I mean, that's the truth. We have a lot of action on that. We bet right throughout live, you know what I mean? I'd love the guys there that do. There's some of your guys just do rugby with us and not do cricket, you know what I'm saying? But I will have a nice couple of special. If they get involved in the cricket now and have a few bets on the RPL this week, then I'm going to have everybody from watching the show that has some bets on the RPL this week, I'll enter them into a special tournament, a special competition next week, and it'll be worth their while. We bet live in play, we bet anti-post. It really, to me, it's like I've always said, whether you come home from work at 4:30 or 5:30 or 6:30, it doesn't make a difference. Tune in, it's great entertainment. You know what I'm saying, Brent?
Yeah, and lots of volatility, which, of course, punters and I guess bookmakers alike certainly enjoy. Gary, that brings us to the end of the show because I've got the handicap rugby show coming up at 9 o'clock, but great catching up with you again. Anything else you want to highlight on the weekend before we leave?
No, I think that's everything, Brent. We touched on everything. There's great golf, there's great cricket, there's great rugby, there's great soccer. There's not a hell of a lot more that any of us could ever ask for. You know what I'm saying? GGGaming.bet is open right from now until Christmas Day, 24/7. You know what I'm saying? So the guys want anything, to be there. We're open for business. Get on. You know what I'm saying? Have a dip and yeah, keep it punt within your budgets and everything. Let's have some fun. And Brent, thank you for the show. Like I said, it's always busy after I'm on the show with you. And we'll see you next Thursday night.
Excellent, Gary. Thanks. Great catching up with you. And thanks to all the guys in the live chat. Always makes the show with your live comments. A last chance to get in your Rebels Reds prediction if you're one of the late joiners. I see we've picked up a few late listeners to the show. And a reminder that you can subscribe underneath this channel, hit the bell, and you'll be highlighted on any of our shows. We'll see the rest of you, though, in about 5 minutes' time for the handicap rugby chat that matters. Cheers, everyone.
How about cheers, Brent? Thanks.